Commence primary ignition.
I'm Aiden Barton. I play Baby Luke and Leia, and you're watching the Virtual Cantina Network.
Hello there. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Virtual Cantina Watch-Along of Season 1 of Andor. Very excited about this episode. I hope you brought your floaties. I hope you can swim, because it's one way out. And we have here our good friend, Mr. Marti Matulis. Marty, how are you, sir?
Hey, gents, I am thrilled to be here. Can we just start the love fest right now for the show?
Yeah, it's getting intense. This whole lead into this point.
This is the turning of the screw episode. I love it.
Yes. And makes us look forward more to the new season. So that's going to be amazing.
So one thing that I'm very excited about with this episode is obviously the carnal cry of One Way Out, and obviously the running of the prisoners. Now, Marty, you got to see the running of the prisoners in London. That was pretty impressive.
There was some tampering. There was the pitter patter of naked feet on that floor. Very interesting place. Yeah, it's an effective rallying cry, and it's great for cosplayers. It's a great callback to this show, and a comfortable cosplay suit to boot.
Oh yeah, super casual, and they're easy to get. Although there are some really good ones that cost a decent amount of money for the actual, jumpsuit based on the original, elements involved. But then you can buy the cheaper ones, and it makes it kind of more inclusive. But I love how everybody kind of jumped on this idea once it became a thing, and because we'd had the running of the Wilro hoods for forever. Well, not forever, for many years, for 10, 12, 15 years. And those guys, is referencing a very kind of old element, split second part of one of the movies. And, this is, I think, resonates more with people. So they jump on board and they're all about doing this running versus the other running.
No, it's definitely very exciting. And speaking of exciting, I know that they're planning to do another running while we're in Japan, especially around the Andor panel on Saturday afternoon.
Great.
Yeah, it's but we can say this now because we couldn't say it when you were on last time. Marty will be with us in Japan.
Coming to Japan, yes, indeed. I'm looking forward to that as well. It's going to be a great event. You put on a great show. And it's going to be fun to be there. I've never been to Japan. I'm thrilled to go just to see some of the country. I don't know if I'm going to have time to get out of Tokyo. I think I hear rumor is that Tokyo is rather large. So
Indeed.
Do a little bit of touristy business and some Star Warsy business. Although I didn't get into a single panel.
Oh, that's too bad.
I kind of bobbled the start time for the sign up for the panels, and they went
pretty fast.
Yep.
But you seem to find a way in. I remember watching the Skeleton Crew trailer in the first opening panel, and I started texting you. You're like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the first couple of rows." I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, if I could have videoed just the effort it took to get myself into that kickoff event. Yeah, I pulled a few cards. There were some phone calls being made. There was some texting in real time. And lo and behold, I got the golden ticket to get into that one. For this one, I really just want to get into the Andor Season 2 panel. Like, if I could only choose one, it would be Andor Season 2.
Well, that new trailer that dropped at the beginning of the week was absolutely insane.
Oh, it's intense. Like I appreciate what they did with the first one, kind of like making it, rock and roll rebel song. Great. This one,
Yeah.
I'm fearing for how I'm going to feel watching this next season. It's going to be
So I
epic.
read an article today that Diego wrote, basically saying that season 2 is going to actually make you change how you feel about Rogue One.
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah. Very.
I'm sure it'll make his decisions in Rogue One feel a lot more intense and important. And
deliberate, maybe.
yeah, I don't know. What about the Dead Ramiro thing that everyone's like, oh, it's Vader, he's force choking her? Nah.
Yeah, I'm not thinking that's the case in that scene.
Well, nobody knows anything, but my desire has been, if it's going to be it's Tony Gilroy, so it is going to be a fully rounded, well thought out story. There has to be some character on one side or the other. It's not going to be the rebellion; it's going to be the Empire. There has to be someone who suffers a crisis of conscience.
Oh yes.
So I wonder if it's going to be the Gorman massacre. Would it be Dedra or would it be Cyril? Like, I feel like one of them must be grappling with the weight of what they've actually done at some point, which I would
think
love to.
It'll probably be Dedra. That's because
Yep.
Cyril's so busy trying to prove himself back again, get back in good graces. That I think that with Dedra is when she goes up against Krennic, which I'm ecstatic about.
Yep. Oh, how much fun for those two actors too. They're both so good, and they're going to have a blast together. Yeah, that could be the one.
I think that was alluded to in the first season, this season that we're going to watch tonight. That based on having the ISB as a major player, that Krennic had to be involved heavily this new season.
Great.
I don't know if you realize this, but when we were in London for our event, right next to where we were was the Sky Bridge, that was the ISB building bridge.
For the Cyril stalking sex scene.
Yeah.
The only sex scene in Star Wars.
Galactic.
It was so cool because we had the ISB,
cool.
we had the ISB bridge to one side, and
Yep.
then we had Scarif in the tube stop from Rogue One.
Oh, was it?
On the other side.
I didn't see that one.
So the tube stop for Canary Wharf was filmed for for some of the Scarif scenes when they were undercover in the bunker.
Very cool.
So it's kind of like we were in the middle of like a little Star Wars set, kind of like.
Yeah, I had no idea either. I was just kind of wandering around the waterfront that day, and I looked up and I saw the girders, the supports. I was like, wait a second. I kind of repositioned myself to the right camera angle, and I'm like, that was it.
That's fun.
So do you plan to walk incognito on the floor again wearing a Vane t-shirt?
I have a new shirt this season. Yeah.
Nice.
I had my Lego guy for Celebration London. I have my I worked up some kanji for fancy pirate, well-dressed pirate, cool pirate. So I've got that and a picture of Vane. So that'll be my my only stealth indication that I'm there.
Or there is an Arabish yo ho, a pirate's life for me t-shirt available on the Virtual Cantina.
Well, good, because I have a ticket for 2 days, and I wouldn't want to wear the shirt both days. So
Exactly. You need to have.
There you go. Go to our T-Public store right now, and you can get yourself a. You can also get yourself a Celebration Crew T-shirt, which is the Skeleton Crew logo, but says Celebration in there, which actually Jeff gave to the kids this last weekend.
Cool.
There it is, tpublic.com/user/virtual-cantina.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
All the good shirts.
There it goes.
Right there.
Oh, and if you missed it the first time, here it comes again. Right?
Yeah.
Here it comes.
It wants to drive home.
There we got our tribute to Vane t-shirt. We got some great kanji t-shirts with some Star Wars sayings in Japanese. We also have our tribute to our good friend Mr. Bartlett, a One Jack t-shirt that says "Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto."
Very nice.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing there.
Yes.
Exactly.
So try to look at it. But we're very much obviously excited for our event. As we had mentioned, it is completely sold out, but we are going to be offering what's called a hyperspace ticket, which is that it'll be a standby line. And as people leave throughout the evening between 7 and 9 p.m., we will take people from the line and basically one man out, one man in, $50 ticket. You come in and meet Marty and a bunch of our other guests, have open bar, come play some sabak with hyperspace props. It's going to be a really good time. Very excited. We got like 4 members of the Skeleton Crew cast joining us in Japan, which we're very excited about that. Joining Marty, we have also Kariana Crowder, who is KB, the cyborg girl. Very excited about Kariana. I hear she's absolutely a lovely kid.
She's really smart and really sweet. Great kid.
Also, Bradley and Christine Galley, who were Jawas within the Skeleton Crew, and Bradley had another role there as well. But Christine was also known as playing R2-D2 in the Book of Boba Fett, but also R5 in Mando Season 3, which is pretty cool. So we have those two. We have Maria Sandoval, who Jeff just spent some time with, who is the hair designer for the Mandoverse. I don't know if
she was at the Inland Empire event as well, so it was right across from the kid.
Right? Is all prosthetic for you?
No hair on my head or Vane's head.
There you go. But very excited to see Maria there as well. We also have from ILM and also from BattleBots, we have Mr. Fawn Davis from. So we're very excited. Fawn's going to be there for a little bit behind the scenes. Chris Parsons, who is Forlom in the original Empire Strikes Back. Chris will be there at our event. We also have the toy father himself, Mr. Jim Swearingen, the designer of all of our Kenner toys. He will be there. I know Marty loves those Kenner toys.
So good. Can't wait to see that.
It'd be fantastic. And then rounding out in his final signing, Mr. Dave Santana, which I'm very excited about that because Dave was also one of the troopers for Rogue One and also all the other Disney era movies. So very excited for him. And also, if you can't make it to any of our events, we have a deal with both Elite Signatures in England and Twin Cities Comics in the United States. They're taking pre-orders for consignment. Please take a look at their pages, and they will be at our event getting autographs from all of our guests and being able to ship them home for you. But a very nice lineup. Very excited about everybody who's going to be there. But also, one thing that we're going to announce tonight, besides the fact that it's sold out, is that if you're nervous about going to our event, especially walking around Japan and not knowing where to go, we have a solution for you. Meet our good member and moderator, Mike Delicard. He will be in the APA Tokyo Makuhari lobby at 6:15 p.m., and he will walk you to our event. So basically, you can meet various members of the Virtual Cantina Network and walk with them to the Not-So. So right there, it's an opportunity for you to come and hang out, and so you don't feel like you're getting lost on the way to location, because I'm sure it can be quite jarring, especially if you don't know the area. So
looks like a nice little walk, about 15 minutes, like a little over a half mile to get to the venue from that hotel. So if you're near the convention center already, then it's a good kind of reference point. But also be there by 6:15 because he's going to leave at that point to go, so that everybody can get to the venue and in time and have a little bit of time to kill. So
absolutely. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But so Marty, what are you looking forward to in Japan? Not just obviously Celebration, which I think is going to be incredible in itself. But what are you looking forward to about Japan?
Coffee shops.
Coffee shops. Okay.
This may be more insight into my actual personality than anybody wants, but coffee shops and hi-fi bars. That's really all I want. I want to go listen to some vinyl. Japan's Tokyo in particular, I think, is renowned for hi-fi bars, where it's not about just going and partying, having a bunch of noise. It's like listening to some really good jazz on
So is
vinyl.
everybody got a pair of headphones on and have their own turntable that they're loading
No,
up?
I think they just have DJ barista and really great speakers, and you just hang out and just listen.
There's actually I was watching a video last night about Golden Guy, which is the in Shibuya. It's like a little area that has like 280 bars,
Yeah.
and you can only fit almost like 10 people in every bar. And they actually do have one of those vinyl bars. I was watching a video last night in that. So
I'll send you some links.
I need to get that link too. I've seen
Oh, yeah.
a lot of videos on things that I will likely want to see or experience in Tokyo, and I don't remember seeing anything about that kind of specifically. So,
well, if those two things are up your alley at all, and if you're an Apple iPhone user, I have my maps. I have a folder for Tokyo loaded with pins, just so I can find my way around on the maps.
Oh,
I need to do something like that as well. So maybe I could check yours out and add to it.
No, so very excited. Obviously, there's a lot of little great shops and bars, and honestly, there's a lot of great. Actually, there's a great bar that I actually want to go to called Deathmatch from Hell. That's in there. That's an 80s heavy metal bar, and they show horror movies. But behind the bar, the bartender has Star Wars toys lined up on the back of it.
Oh, so, brilliant! I think we should go to that.
That sounds like a great combination.
Yeah, that's like on my thing. And the guy walks around and he actually wears like a Wayne's World hat every night. So he's always quoting Wayne's World all the time in all the videos. It's incredible. But I'm excited. I think that one thing I'm going to be very excited about is to see the cosplay in Japan. I think that that's level.
That must be incredible. Can't wait for that. Both in the venue and out on the street. I think people just kind of walk around in daily lives, kind of cosplayed up sometimes too.
Oh, especially if you end up going over towards Harajuku in that area, or even there's a big anime area. It's on the tip of my tongue. That's just wall to wall video game arcades and manga shops.
Yep.
The cosplay around there is going to be fantastic. But the one thing I remember when Ahsoka came out, and they were finally on Peridia, my wife, who likes Star Wars but is not like a huge fan like we are, looked at the costumes and were like, "Are they like trying to get people ready for Japan? Like seriously, this is." I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me in any capacity that they were trying to
like as well. There's a lot of Japanese inspiration in the costumes specifically.
Yeah, definitely. No, that'll translate really well. I'd like to see I'm always a fan of like a mashup of genres or cultural influences. So if there's even a traditional Edo period Japanese aesthetic with the Star Wars thing, that's something I would be all over.
I hope it's like some samurai, like Jedis or Sith.
Yeah.
Have you seen the badge art yet, Marty?
I love that. I cannot wait.
I'm imagining that once that dropped, that some people were very specific in their redesigning of something that they had already been working on, right?
Yeah.
Vader's amazing. I actually did a patch, which I'll have to give you one. I don't have it handy, of course. Over here it is. So this is off the artwork. I grabbed the Vader helmet and made a patch out of it. The Vader's amazing. That all the scenes that they put into those are just like outstanding, and then the style is so
I mean, it's perfect that it's coming back around. I mean that was the influence for Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
right?
exactly. The whole
Luke's outfit, his tunic looks a little bit young, samurai-ish. Vader's helmet is very kind of samurai helmet. Like it's perfect.
One of the panels I want to see, if I could try to get to it, it's one of the small rooms, was talking about it's about Star Wars and the influence of Kurosawa.
Yep. I'm in that one for sure. Yep. We can stake that one out. I want to not miss that one. And there's also Doug Chang talking about Skeleton Crew. So I have a vested interest in crashing that one.
Doug Chang, I've enjoyed his talks all the way back to the first Star Wars Celebration. So
Such a mind. This guy.
Any slideshow that he puts up just, and catches my attention, and fascinates me with his designs and what they end up looking like on screen, which is usually pretty close, but it's incredible.
Yeah. Amazing technical guy.
It's funny because usually when I get autographs, I usually bring my own things, like figure or my own prints. Doug Chiang was the first person that actually said, something. I just want to see what's on his table, and any of his drawings, I'm very much interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, that would be amazing to pick something like that up. He was one of the first guys I met when I was doing the makeup costume test for Vane way back on Mando. Like, I heard that he was going to be there, and I was fanboying out. And then he walked up within inches and was just kind of inspecting everything on the face and the costuming, making sure everything looked right for his world.
Wow.
Yeah, phenomenal.
I would say he's the modern day Macquarie. Like, literally, obviously he takes inspiration, but he makes it his own. But this era is very much Doug Chiang, influence and everything of nature. Even though there's like hints of Macquarie, still obviously always thrown in. But Doug Chiang is like the most prolific designer, I would say, for the Star Wars universe. As much as you want to say Dave Filoni is at the same time. His fingerprints are all over Star Wars at this stage.
Yep. Influence is outstanding contribution to this as well. As we're in the right kind of a crowd and the right kind of kids here, I would also put Matthew Woods into that group of highly, highly influential OG artists and technicians who are now kind of
he's sort of the heir apparent to Ben Burt, which is an amazing thing in and of itself. So
I do want to say that Rebel Scum Con did just announce Matt Wood going to be in Texas this summer. And
oh, really?
I might have slipped an information to the people at Rebel Scum Con that if a certain event is going to happen, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if a certain event does happen and Matt Wood wants to stop by and sing Youngie Wim, I am completely okay with it.
He should. Maybe someone should text him with such an invite.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think that if we actually had Matt Wood singing Major Tom and Huttese for us, that would be absolutely next level.
That would be a showstopper for sure.
Let me know if I can do anything to help make that happen.
Well, said text. Anyways.
Copy that.
Yes.
But we'll make sure the door guys.
Roger.
Oh yes, Roger.
But we're about 7 minutes out, so please make sure you got your Disney Plus all queued up to episode 10, One Way Out. And I'd say probably one of the best Star Wars monologues. And you can't say that very often in Star Wars, that there's a gripping monologue. But Andy Serkis's performance and his monologue in this particular episode, to me, was Emmy-worthy. Like, I was shocked that it was not nominated. This episode in particular.
There's so much going on in these episodes. They're absolutely packed, and they keep connecting things from these different storylines. This one is definitely Andy Serkis's episode. Even with, and I got to say, like, Luthen's monologue at the end is no slouch either. Like, that's an epic piece of writing where he could have just said the word everything, but he gives us the speech about why. Andy's the one who has to come to terms with, like, his character is the most steadfast of, like, let's get through this. We're going to, like, put our heads down, follow the rules, get out of here.
Yeah, do our days.
He's the one that has to come to actual realization, like, everything's changed. What are we going to do about it? And it's a piece of phenomenal acting and great writing for that character.
I think one of the things that was very impactful, and especially with Tony Gilroy, as you were talking about, is the fact that he wasn't writing a good Star Wars story. He was writing a good story that happened to be in the Star Wars universe.
Yep. Absolutely why this thing succeeded. I heard, and as you can see from some of the other things he's worked on, like the Bourne movies and such, he steeps himself in not only just spy things, but like cultural decline, as societies fall. Like he reads history like that just for fun.
Hmm.
So his prodigious skill applied to this absolutely beautifully, accurately appropriate and pivotal place in the Star Wars timeline. It's a match made in heaven. I would say this is certainly the best Star Wars stuff I think we've ever gotten, and probably some of the best TV I've ever gotten. Like I would easily put Andor season 1 and probably season 2 on par with like Deadwood or Breaking Bad or Firefly. Like right. It's up there, man. It's so good.
And funny you should say Firefly, considering the fact that Alan Tudyk is back in season 2 of Andor as K2SO, and obviously we all know him as Lovable Wash from Firefly and Serenity, which would be fun. And Alan will be in Japan as well, which is going to be very exciting.
Oh, nice. You should have him over. He can do the other part of the song.
There we go. More invites need to be texted.
Yes. But no, very, very excited about this year's celebration. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be, very interesting. Very interesting. Like I would say, obviously the main panels, obviously opening panel this year is the Mando Grogu movie. It'll be very interesting to see who is the surprises as far as the cast is concerned. Considering that there is nobody from Mandalorian on the guest list, really, for celebration. So who are they bringing over to Japan just for
a panel?
Been wondering about that, Andor season 2, even Ahsoka. Like I'm sure they're going to try to.
Well, Rosario's there, so
she's
Rosario and Hayden are there, but are they going to bring in, rest in peace, Rey's replacement?
That's kind of
Rory.
Are they going to bring in Lars, which would be? I mean, if you saw Lars in London, he got standing ovation when they announced he was live action Thrawn.
Yeah. Yep, that was great.
The place when we saw the director's cut of that trailer that Jon Favreau told us to do, the place went nuts when we saw that it was that was Lars's face. Like
that was outstanding.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting because I know that they're starting to film next month at Pinewood. So very interesting to see.
You haven't called me yet. That's weird.
Yeah.
I don't think Vane's on Purdy. I think he just Speaking of which, you got to go find your bosses and say, "Hey, I'm still alive." You're like Max Rebo. You don't die.
Not dead, but also not in London. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm. You can't really see around me. I'm in Portland, Oregon. I'm not in London. But
like you said, there was no body found.
That's right. I did not see him explode.
Yes. Same thing with Max Rebo. You notice that every time there's a terrorist issue in Star Wars, whether it be the Jabba skiff or the bomb in Madame Garza's cantina, like Max Rebo is outside smoking a cigarette. Like he's not there.
You posit an interesting theory we should explore.
Yeah,
which is Max Rebo is the mastermind of Star Wars. I'm telling you right now.
That's really it. He and Jar Jar, they're the darkness.
Well, I'm very excited. Obviously, considering the fact that now Darth Jar Jar is now canon.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh, they Legoed it, didn't they?
Yeah,
they Legoed him. And also one of the shots that's going to be on Ahmed Best's table is Darth Jar Jar.
As well it should be. Good for them.
A couple years ago at Rhode Island Comic Con, I actually got someone actually made a mock-up of Darth Jar Jar. And I got that sign. He's like, don't put this on social media because Disney hates it. And then 3 years later, Darth Jar Jar is canon.
You hear that, kids? Enough chatter. You'll get your way.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not the first time. Anyways, we're at that time. So if you guys have your Disney Plus queued up, episode 10, One Way Out, we will do a little countdown. And when we get to the end of the countdown, hit your play button. Here we go. Oops. Oh, my audio is bleeding through. So play your previously on and all the fun intro stuff.
One of the things also I thought was very interesting in the news lately is how that there's been a lot of reports lately that the viewership for Acolyte has been higher and getting a lot of buzz lately.
Okay.
That the cast is starting to rumble on social media as well. That people are like watching it more and more, and it's gaining numbers similar to like Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. So I'm very intrigued.
Start a Skeleton Crew campaign, because I think that they suffered a positioning problem, a timing issue. Because both of those shows didn't really get the viewership that I think they should have.
Well, I think the some of the problems were, perceptions of what they were going to get for Skeleton Crew specifically.
Yeah,
but like, I don't want to see a kid show about in Star Wars, and it's like, well, Star Wars is a kid show, but
good. It's so good for everybody.
It's really
a great show. It's so fun. It's great nostalgia. I would be an ideal, intro point for any number of age groups of youngsters, all the way through. Anybody who's got any kind of like nostalgia for the '80s Amblin movies and all those adventure movies.
Did I just see a Star Wars logo? Is that where we're at?
Yes, you did.
Okay,
we are right there.
Well, the thing about Skeleton Crew is that honestly, kids might be in the central focal point, but it really wasn't a kids show. Like,
well, that's the whole thing. Is that there was a misconception that people were expecting one thing, and then in that just decided to maybe not to watch it because of that.
Right.
But I know there's a lot of great word of mouth, because everybody I talked to was raving
about
it.
No, nothing but positive reviews, just not enough people's eyes on it. For whatever, I think the kid show aspect was definitely a factor. I think the at the time, there was like a continuing pile on to whatever Disney's choices that they were making, or
right
how shows are being received in such quick succession, and you name it. But nothing but word of mouth helping it out at this point, now that it's sitting on the streaming service.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say is that I don't know if you saw this, but really nice model of SM33 Black Series. They did a
really? SM got his Black Series, did he?
Yeah.
I see how it is. Nothing connected to the end of his fist, though, huh?
Yeah.
All right, this is kind of that pivotal point in this show where it's like, the speed. It's about the speed. This episode is about like, it has to be now. It has to be today. It has to be tomorrow.
Like, urgency.
Yeah, it's so good.
And the funny thing is that they have no idea who they got. That they actually do have a cast.
Funny thing. That being ID'd as Clem and not Cassian. But I love how they've been, he's keeping his eyes open this whole time and seeing the little things that he can, use to help get his plan come to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
This is another thing I also was very happy about was the fact that between Andy Serkis and you want to say maybe even Ahmed Best, you got two actors who played CGI characters and then honestly made a bigger impact when they went live action with themselves. Like Cameron Beck and Kino Loy, I'd put up against Snoke and Jar Jar as more prolific characters.
I mean, one could extend that analogy to like even prosthetics characters. They're like CG characters in a way.
Yeah.
Then all they need to do is just pull that off and like deliver an amazing performance.
There you go.
The
performance is there.
Lobbying hard.
It's just a matter of how they represent the actor underneath.
Well, like we could talk about that with animation as well. I mean, obviously we could talk about, with like Katie Sackhoff, or even Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown playing Ryder Zadi live action and in Rebels. Right there alone, you got this same voicer. Or we were talking about earlier, Lars. As Thrawn.
Yeah, it's great that there's so many different formats for this story. Like I don't know any continuing story within a genre that can jump so many different styles, from comic to animation to Lego animation to live action.
I think that's also part of the brilliance of Dave Filoni. Dave Filoni obviously coming from an animation background and then moving to live action. He knows this world inside and out to try to make it as seamless as possible. I mean, honestly, Ahsoka was Rebels season 4 or season 5. Like it seemed like it was no different. Even the medium was different, but the storyline was the same.
Oh, and that Andor season 2, they're going to play out the Gorman massacre. We're going to see Mon Mothma spirited out of the Coruscant. Like it just keeps.
Well, the way that intertwines, yeah.
That was a bit of just to jump on the show. Andy's realization when he has to speak up and tell everyone that they're not getting out, and then you see him clock that he's actually just said that, and he actually kind of realizes that he's just said that.
Right.
So good.
Change of his whole.
When I got my photo op with him in London, I had a shirt made that says "On program, precious." I actually brought the One Ring with me. So he held the One Ring and made a Smeagol face, but I'm looking at it with my hand like this, and he has his hand behind his head like there. So it was a nice little mashup.
Oh, and this moment with what's his name, Lonnie. I mean, my eyes are always on Dedra and was it Partagas? Is that?
Yeah, I'm not clear on the other officers' names, but
so good. Well, then, as Dedra walks out, this shot where he's just kind of staring at him, an editorial trick to make you pay attention. We don't really know what Lonnie is yet until the end of the episode when he goes to talk to Luthen. But that shot they hold extra long on him, kind of like looking at the back of Partagas.
Right.
You might wonder, it should psychologically clue you in that like
a foreshadowing
why
type
is
thing.
he staring at why would they show him longer at the end of that shot?
Yeah, why is that cut kind of?
Because that's the last time we see those guys until the end of the episode.
They want to make sure you recognize them.
The actress who played Dedra was lovely in London.
Denise Goff.
Yeah, she appreciated like everybody who came up to her, get autographs and just chatting about the show.
Great, because I'm going to go to Power of the Force convention in Cologne, and I think she and the guy, I can't remember the actor's name, the gentleman who plays her assistant, they're going to both be there. I'm going to fanboy out. I already know it's going to happen. I'm just going to get all twitchy and ask a lot of weird questions.
Marty,
turn into Cyril too.
I am so glad you're on that show.
Me too. It took some doing, as you know. Thank you for your contribution to that effort.
I think that was like a 3-hour turnaround from when you texted me to you getting the contract.
There was some push, and then all it took was Spencer just going
over the edge.
Yeah,
great. You're going to Japan. You're going to Germany. It's going to be some good travel for you this year.
This has become a fun spring. So after Japan, I'm flying to London across a portion of the planet I've never flown over before. I'm going to hang out in London for a week, dog sit for a friend, and then from London probably jump the same flight as Spencer, Denise, and whoever else is coming from London to go to the Cologne.
Oh, very cool.
And that's a very good show. I mean, I know Chris and Misty and all your friends have been on that show before, and they say nothing but great things about it.
Yeah, it looks great. I've been consuming YouTube content to kind of get familiar with the size and kind of the layout and the vibe of it, and it seems like a lot of fun. Very well put together. And yet another scene of the screw tightening. Poor Mon Mothma, man. She's just
getting backed into a corner.
Getting squeezed, constantly getting squeezed.
there's a great picture. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was an overhead shot of her being rushed out of the Senate building in season 2 that was already released. Like her fleeing.
Like a massive staircase with the drone shots.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. I can hardly wait. Season 2 is going to be actively in play while these trips and these conventions are going on, and I think the last 3 episodes play either the last day or the day after the convention, where Denise and her friend are going to appear. So it's like happening in real time.
That's good timing. Yeah. They're doing the 3 episode per week drop thing, which is, I could see them putting the first 3 episode arc out and then going to single episodes a week. But 3 episodes a week is a lot of stuff to consume. And these shows are not short episodes.
For you guys who do the podcast, who do video cast, like, sorry.
As soon as they made the announcement, you heard us screaming across the continent.
Yeah. I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine.
So, like, this episode is 39 minutes of actual show, and if we have to triple that, that's
for us simple fan consumers, it's going to be ideal, because I think each 3-chapter group is 1 year of time.
Yes, exactly. They're going to be amazing kind of movies instead of a single show episode, because it's going to end up being 2 hours or whatever it is.
This guy's great too.
I found interesting is that, like, when I watch Rogue One, I have to watch Star Wars directly after it, because obviously you're on the Tantive 4, and DA said this season 2 ends 10 minutes before Rogue One starts, so you're gonna have to put it after that. And I'm like, no, not a couple of hours. We're talking about another 5 hours. Because no, I got to go through New Hope and then call it a day.
Right. You have to fully recontextualize everything now.
Yeah. Get that whole timeline and to play out.
Well, they included that one shot of a much more aged and more elaborate suited Saw looking out at Jeddah with the Star Destroyer over it in the trailer. That tells me that's probably one of the last episodes. If they're going,
I was thinking the same thing. That was very much Saw of Rogue One versus the Saw we saw previously in this season.
Yep.
And I also want to see what other artifacts does Luthen have of Easter eggs for us geeks in a shop in season 2.
Right, they did pack that shop from what I heard and saw. I was happy to see the Raiders Shankara stones up on the top shelf.
I was just about fun. Out of all everything else that was like EU or canonized, they throw something of India in there all the time.
Yep.
I mean, it goes back to the Ark of the Covenant having R2D2 and C3PO, in there.
Hieroglyphs.
I point that out. I'm the nauseatingly annoying fanboy when I point that out to everybody. Like
when you're watching it,
my nieces and nephew, any kid who's never seen it, I'm like, you guys, you want to see something cool?
Well, it's like also talk about Club Obi-Wan.
Club Obi-Wan, as well.
And I think it was in Bad Batch. It was Club Lao She.
Oh, was there in Bad Batch? Interesting. That shot. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, these sets are really. You can tell they're in a great, well-built space.
And how smart, even that one shot that my brain is still stuck on, where she is seated low, that shot with the big giant chandelier weighing right down on her, the 2 men who are kind of manipulating her on either side. It's just, it's.
Well, now she's starting to.
Makes me so happy when camera choices are also telling the story. So much care involved in the making of this.
Oh, yeah.
And we know
the amazing stuff in the shop.
But we see in the trailer, obviously the marriage of her daughter. We see that, her crying as she's dancing at the reception. That she sold her daughter out, for the rebellion.
It's brutal. Yeah, I don't recall seeing her daughter or her husband anywhere in the upcoming movies that she shows up in.
Okay, so there's Padme's headpiece.
It's a trap.
I like the shaking hand. We all
Yeah.
know what's going to happen now.
Yes, Star Killer's helmet behind him right now.
One way out, boys. Did Toby direct this one? Was this a Toby Haynes one? I'm gonna have to
That's a
look
good
that up.
question. Yeah.
I think Toby did the first 2 or 3.
It's ironic, but at the same time, it's like, back in like the old concentration camps or anything of that nature, when they're like digging their own graves, like they're building the Death Star.
Right.
They're building
Spoiler alert.
That. Oh yeah. Sorry, kids.
My bad. Hope you haven't watched this episode before.
I had this sort of weird idea that possibly that the prison was set up just to be busy work. So like while these guys were putting these things together, there might be another faction somewhere else in the prison actually breaking them down. And it would just be a vicious circle.
Oh, that's twisted.
But this, yeah, that's where my head goes. But the building of the Death Star, a dish is a pretty hardcore connection.
Now I'll be intrigued. Are we gonna get Tarkin in season 2? Like, is Guy Henry gonna come?
Yeah, there's room for a lot of cameos.
You mean unlike the Doomsday cast that we got released yesterday for the next Avengers movie? That
I heard something today that was still not like the full cast list or something.
It took them 5 hours to announce all 27.
27. Yeah, that was very odd, interesting way to do that.
And Pedro got second highest billing on that one too.
I have not nerded out in that direction yet. I've actually been binging these in advance of tonight, just so I could fully caught up. I watched the entire season. I started watching this episode again today. I get a little obsessive about the details sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great thing about going back and rewatching these is that you see all these connections in the background that you didn't like take into consideration the first time. And that sort of just adds to the richness. On program.
Anytime I see anytime I'm at a con, I see people in these jumpsuits, I always scream on program just to see if they can do it.
Have them stop and put their arms up.
There it is, Kino. This is the moment. I love how well they just keep drawing it out too. Like, this is it. This has got to happen. And it just gets, my hands are sweating right now. And I've seen this thing 4 times.
Yeah, they build the tension.
Did they ever notice yet that Cassian is completely drenched?
Yeah, I was wondering when, while he was standing there, if the guard was going to look down and like, why are you soaking wet? But he's not paying that much attention yet.
Sacrifice the ginger. I think he's one of the first ones to go.
Oh, no.
Lift engaged. This is such a British show.
Madness. Parkour. Oh, zappy zap. Oh, no.
Bold move from the new guy.
Oh.
That'll teach him.
Oh, doink. Yeah, they got a lot of chunks of metal that are going to come in handy. Oh no.
You know, another thing they did in this show that I was impressed with is the use of these blasters, making them seem like they legitimately have a significant impact. You know, whereas before, a stormtrooper might get hit and just kind of fall down.
Or yeah, maybe
These
move a
guys are getting
shoulder.
ratcheted back, especially in the big thing on Ferrix in the next couple episodes, or the last episode in the big fight. Those guys are getting wailed by these laser blasts.
Yeah, a lot of cable work.
Yep. Makes it seem
Remember,
a lot more.
if you dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Was that?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Indeed.
I love this here where they like, what? We didn't get fried?
Attack.
Oops, my bad.
That's what the running of the prisoners needs to do next, is find some random imps to attack and just mob them. Not that they would hurt them, but just like run at them or something. That'd be pretty funny.
Well, didn't you say, Jeff, that instead of floaties, you want to bring a surfboard or a boogie board?
Yeah, if I could have a surfboard in Japan and do the running, that would be my way to go. Although I'm not a surfer, but I do live close to the water. I can watch surfers daily if I need to. But yeah, boogie board would probably be easier, a lot lighter, not take up as much space. But none of that's going to make it to Japan in my suitcase, unless I had like an inflatable one or something. But yeah, I was considering doing the running of the prisoners. I have one of the cheap costumes, and mine actually, I got Andy to sign it, which makes it a lot more fun and less likely to want to run around in it.
Watching this with the subtitles, I'm noticing that every once in a while you see a character's name who before I might not have even noticed. Right. Like Jean or Xian, they're like the redheaded guy who just died had his name listed. Did you guys know, I think it was an episode or two ago, when the white-haired mustachioed guy comes into ISB, he said he's been speaking to Palpatine and he's got some new decree, that guy that was kind of running the show. Do you recognize who he was before you saw the subtitle of his name? That was Yolandi from Clone Wars?
Right. I think I didn't realize it the first watching, but I got clued into it on either the rewatch or maybe one of the like Screen Crush recap videos. I was happy to have kind of pseudo discovered it I was just doing some other stuff and I had the subtitles on, and when I heard the voice, I'm like, oh, I love the scene. I looked up and Dedra's like getting dressed up and I saw his name, and that just blew my mind that they would have brought him in. Well, that's again those little connections that they make that makes the stuff from that might have been throwaway scene or character in like the original trilogy become much more kind of poignant. Yep. Which is why I really feel bad for people who are young and just decide to start entering into this world, because now, good luck. Yeah, I mean, they can enjoy it, but they don't know the nuances of it. So they get to discover.
I love about Star Wars in general. I was having this conversation with some people this past weekend. Is wherever you come in, there's an entry point, and you can find your way in. Whether you're going in from the original trilogy or one of the shows, or Young Jedi Adventures or Resistance or Rebels or whatever, there's a way to come into Star Wars.
Well, I know,
and then you'll hear more about
Mando, and specifically the when they actually showed you Grogu, that drew in a huge amount of people that weren't necessarily Star Wars fans, but were fans of a cute little green alien, right? And so there's ways to do it, and it can incorporate people that may have never seen the original trilogy or whatever, or hadn't seen it since they were young or whatever. So it's a nice set of kind of juxtaposition to have that.
Grogu was never expected to be this big cash cow that it has become. This phenomenon.
Yeah. What's funny about that is that does kind of make sense, because you would have thought that they would have at least got more merchandise, a few more things kind of ready with the anticipation of how popular he was going to be.
I would have expected a Grogu lunchbox.
At least.
It took them a long time to get the little plush whatever's kind of out and on the
Well, just
shelves.
remember, like, how long did it take, like, when the original Kenner figures that we're talking about Jim Swearingen? Then you had the QR codes and the UPC codes, and just saying that this will be out soon. We're giving you placeholders.
That was pretty genius. I remember
send away for your empty box.
Many years waiting and waiting and waiting.
And then finally they were on the toy aisles shelves, and it was $1.38 for a Star Wars action figure.
Go down to Kmart, pick them up.
And I had the sticker right on there. And now with Black Series, hopefully a Vane soon will put you back $33.
Man, I wonder if that's going to happen. I know that they were prepping it, but
even a vintage collection would be awesome as well. So Black Series is kind of the ultimate.
There is a Micro Galaxy Vane out there.
I remember seeing that picture. I had one on order with Amazon before it got canceled by Amazon.
Oh no.
Yeah, the Vane. It seems like the Black Series would be the smartest way, just because of the amount of detail in any of the pirates' outfits and the weapons, bandoliers, and stuff. I know that the first round that came out was Kids, Brutus. Was SM in the first release?
No, he just got released in the new one.
He just got released this week.
Yeah, they just
him. Is it just
him and from Skeleton Crew?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just different Skeleton Crew in this lineup because it was.
I think it was just him. Yeah, it was a array of different shows and movies that they were taking.
If you remember, Jeff posted that picture which I sent to you, Marty, of WonderCon last year, where
there was a full size freaking Vane there.
Right. Yeah, that was tricky. The one where he had his foot up on the treasure chest holding the credit. That was some pretty sneaky indication that he was going to be more involved. Yeah.
Right. It kind of implied like he was the leader almost of.
Kind of did, didn't it? And then suddenly
that's what I felt.
Wasn't that guy.
A little misdirect.
And then during the season, they had Vane up at Lucasfilm outside the ILM.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh, nice.
Here we go.
But I got that great picture of me trying to take the credit out of your hand, so that was fun.
Oh yeah, no. Marty was like, "Excuse me." I said that.
I didn't even get one of those.
It would have been amazing to see you doing that to yourself, but that's
right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, maybe we can get get you to pose properly, and I'll Photoshop me out and put you in.
Just need to make a run to Lucasfilm, see if he's still there.
Oh, that too, yeah. That's not too long of a drive from Portland. What, 6-8 hours?
It's the good part of the drive.
Yeah.
All right, rally him up.
Yeah, this whole speech is just intense. I love the retro graphics for the surveillance and all the stuff that they've been looking at on these giant screens, which with the worst resolution ever. Mm-hmm. It's so on point with 77. Isn't there more doctors than just the one guy? You'd think there'd have to be a few more at least. And then you'd think there'd also be other varying kind of jobs that people would do that would maybe designate them a slightly different color. But
one way out.
They didn't need to go that far into it. So, maybe that'll be yeah, that's not fun. There's a lot of stairs in this place.
So the one thing I want to see in season 2, and then maybe they will allude to it, whatever, was Kino killed, or was he thrown back into another cell, or did they just push him over the edge, literally?
Yeah, did some huge swell of more prisoners come up behind him and shuffle them off?
I would hope he had enough time to come up with a good solution.
So he can't swim, but my question is, can he float?
Yeah.
Because being in the prison is not the better option, I don't think. I mean, obviously he thinks he's just going to die if he goes out there, but maybe he can tag along with some other people.
Here we go.
Oh, that's
Couldn't someone just grab him and just like hold him and then?
Yeah, you'd think maybe. Or they could, maybe they'll find a door out there and he can call up on that.
I like that they gave us this scene of kind of the Blade Runner underbelly.
Oh yeah, the lower levels.
I would have to say Coruscant is actually my favorite. It's always been my favorite planet.
It's an amazing idea that they've completely paved over an entire planet. Like, what would that develop into?
Right. Except for that one mountain that they showed in
A peak.
in season 3 of Mandalorian a couple of times. That was the only like rustic version of Coruscant was that.
Yeah, that one little exposed bit of nature, as it were.
So there's another a nerd out thing I wanted to point out in this scene, because we're only hearing Luthen in his earpiece and it's always on him. They edit several times while just looking at his face, like with the elevator shifts, so you see the buttons, but usually it's like right on his face and he'll just kind of like jump or jitter. It's a cool thing. It's very non-typical in a scene to cut the same angle to the same face, but
Right.
to make it seem like
times.
his world is kind of getting shaken up, like things are going awry for him. It kind of, like, that was a good edit point. Just kind of illustrating that things are not good in Lonnie's world right now.
Okay, what's with the redhead turncoats? You had Hux in the sequel trilogy. You got this guy. Like,
is Callus considered a redhead, or is he just like a blonde, dirty blonde?
I'd say he's dirty blonde. His new figure looks fantastic.
Yeah, that animation to real life design process is pretty good when it comes to what they end up with for the figures. It's sort of like that. Was it Sideshow that did the Clone Wars Obi-Wan, General Obi-Wan, but then put on Ewan's face on it? So It was basically what you saw in the animation, and then personified into Ewan. We were invited. We were going to come to the party, but we changed our minds.
There's so much territory covered in this scene.
Well, almost nothing.
This is a long elevator ride. I already thought he was pretty deep. Is he going up or down? Love the different thought processes here. Luthen is less concerned, and he's overly concerned.
Great reveal. Yeah, it seems like Lonnie is pretty scared of the situation, as he should be, but he also seems like he's a bit scared of Luthen. Like, he's in a dangerous spot even with him. I think he probably knows, having signed up for this, what Luthen's capable of by now. Yeah, I think there's not going to be any redemption arc for Luthen. I think he's kind of established himself and his fate.
Well, he even said in one of his speeches that he sacrificed his life so someone else could see
this coming up.
Yep, this one. Yeah, when Lonnie dares to ask him what he's sacrificed, what he's given up.
What he's given up. Yeah.
And again, testament to amazing writing. Lesser writers would have answered the question with one word, everything, and then cut to something like, action-y. But we get to literally
Sounds
see.
very Marvel.
Because that was one of the key points in the earlier trailer, or one of the trailers for this season, was that whole everything line. What have you given up? And of course, they didn't expand on it because it's such an amazing monologue that we have to see it happen. You're trapped between a rock and a hard place.
He is being groomed.
He's really trying to build him up, keep him engaged.
Needs that member of the team.
Enters into his close-up monologue framing.
Such an interesting set. I wonder if that's a location or something they just built, which would, I'm sure they built elements of it if that was the case, but
all these documents and speeches and scenes and movies and all that, just for the plans given to us by Princess Leia. Like, okay, what about like Luthen now, Cassian, Jyn Erso? Jyn Erso is actually one character I hope we do not see in season 2.
Well, I think with the story, the likelihood is that it would have to be totally separate from whatever else is going on. Maybe you see a younger version of her.
Dismissed.
Cool.
No rebuttal necessary, Lonnie. Back up you go.
Yep. Back to work. And they made it out of the water. Wouldn't there be more kind of random, or are they the ones that actually made it and nobody else did?
Well, they made it at least here, but what I love about this is that we get their reunion in Rogue One. Melshi, returns from Rogue One, so you got this friendship. It's like you're in the clanker together, and all of a sudden you forge a bond that even on the outside you guys are still friends. Mm-hmm. Toby Hayes.
Yeah, Toby. Powerhouse. I think he directed the first group as well.
Well, that was a fun episode. Lots of stuff going on. Amazing monologues.
The whole series is fantastic, but the last 3 episodes or so, 4 episodes, are just like insane. Going from this to Dars of Ferrix, but ending Rick's Road with that, that uprising.
Those last 2, it was really smart of them to not make the last series another 3-episode series, to kind of make this the bridge point for those last 2 powerful episodes. Those things are intense.
Different arc.
Yep.
Very cool.
But anyway, Very excited about this. First and foremost, I want to thank Marty for joining us again tonight. And this
Definitely.
show has been brought to you by Hyperspace Props. Hyperspace Props is the sponsor for the Not So Virtual Cantina Special Edition in Japan. Use the code NSVCSE for 10% off your purchase. And if you make a purchase and you message them, they will bring your items to our event in Japan, and you can pick it up in Japan if you don't want to have it shipped. Also, they are going to debut at our event their brand new at-and credits.
Oh wow!
What?
Are they gonna be super shiny?
They're super shiny. They already posted pictures up on their social media today. But yes, they are debuting at-and credits at our event.
Do we pre-purchase them on the site?
I can find out for you and let you know, but
I would imagine, knowing them, they'll probably have
Just
some
feel
available
them
there.
once we get there.
There you go. That's more on character.
that's our brand for you, sir. But yes, no, very, very excited about that. But Marty, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We can't wait to see you in Japan.
Pleasure being with you guys again. Thanks for inviting me. It's always
Lots of
fun.
Always. So don't forget, this week on Saturday is the news desk with Mark and Gary. They will be talking about the vendors over at Star Wars Celebration Japan. Some interesting vendors this year. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to be there from Bandai. I mean, I remember Bandai as a brand from our childhood. So we're very interested in that. And also the Gap. Why is the Gap a Star Wars Celebration? There's like cool stuff and the Gap.
Yeah, I'm debating because Jin's eyewear is going to be there as well, and I'm like, do I want to go to one of the actual shops and purchase glasses before I see what they have on the celebration floor? Because I'm probably going to buy more there,
Right. So also keep in mind they're also releasing some of the pins. The other day they announced a new Kylo Ren pin that is sponsored by Citizen, and then they have a new Ewok that came out today, which is actually kind of cool. And I can't pronounce the sponsor name for there. But also don't forget, one thing I absolutely love is the Ronin set.
Oh, that figure looks amazing.
Which is incredible. And some
and
great porcelain.
R5 unit looks really, really cool.
And some great porcelain statuettes.
Oh, that Vader. Yeah, that Vader. Yeah.
I think the princess, the Queen Amidala looks incredible.
I haven't seen that one yet.
But I'm frightened about shipping anything porcelain back to that.
Yeah. It's kind of an unfortunate choice for, didn't we, not we, but people in general have a lot of issues with some of the sets at some of the past, like Celebration Anaheim, I think had some ceramic items that people would get and ultimately have broken in the box.
I think
either,
even the Ewok Village in the tumbler, in the fish tank thing, that was kind of messed up. But anyway, once again, Marty, thank you for joining us tonight. Also, don't forget, we have plenty of shows on the network, and gear up because we're 2 weeks away from Star Wars Celebration Japan.
So close, so excited. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be absolutely fantastic. So for Jeff, from Marty, and I, Spencer saying, one way out.